Alex, I need you to come up front. We have the drama.
Yeah.
It's podcast time!
You're so disgusting.
Well, what's the name of the group? It was Herpticultural feedback, something or other.
Inquiry and feedback.
And there seems to be some drama between, what are their names again?
It's Tyler, Rugge, and Maddie. I don't know her last name.
Okay.
And Armin of Herptime.
Okay, cool. So, I'm gonna paraphrase this. Sorry if I fuck anything up, but Madison or whatever, she posts that pretty much she bought a white lip,
A southern white lip.
and she had some issues. She worked with Armin to do the thing, and then animal died in details from start to end. It looks like Armin gets this southern white lip through trade. With his intention is to sell the animal because he works with anoles, other things. It's not part of his projects.
Right.
So he makes it clear that he's like, when he's talking to Maddie and Tyler, that he wasn't planning on holding the animal for a while. They worked out a deal to do an extended payment plan on a cheaper price, and then Maddie and Tyler finished it sooner than expected, right? Now, animal ships, okay? Animal gets delayed. During this delay, the temperatures at the FedEx hub were extreme, so there was a little bit of a concern because white lips are sensitive animals, right? They are known for respiratory infections.
Yes.
Okay. So, mind you, from what I understand, and I for my opinion, I think that there should have been some kind of pack in there to control the temperature. Apparently there wasn't, but, that's just my opinion. Okay. They get the animal. They notice a lump. They talk to Armin. They go back and forth. They take the animal to the vet. They confirm a respiratory infection. During this time, Armin is working with them. They come to an agreement that Armin's paying these vet bills, whatever. Throughout this whole process of the animal's life, there's a lot of back and forth between the two of them. And I want to stress...
Sexting, offer a refund.
And then that. So apparently the animal musked, and it was supposed to be a female. The animal, while musking, took out its hemipenes, ended up being a male. And at that point, from what I understand, Armin refunded the money. Okay? And lo and behold, the animal ends up dying from whatever issue it had. And now, I guess they wanted Armin to do more. They wanted Armin to have an open vet bill, which I've never heard anybody do. I could be super wrong, but I don't fucking know. And then animal dies. Armin's like, yo, I don't know what else you want from me. And so they post it online, I guess in hopes to, one of those buyer bewares kind of thing.
Was it just just them posting their experience? Because I heard that, and from Armin's video, Herptime, he responded with a YouTube video.
Yeah.
I heard that there was mention of blackmail.
I guess maybe, I don't know, Alex, if you want to chime in on this. Was the post meant for blackmail?
Meant as blackmail?
Was it?
Well, it would be interesting if he was like, hey, if Tyler was like, or Maddie was like, oh, I'm going to post this if you don't do this. And then that would be blackmail. That is understandable.
So how do you think, from start to finish, from seller to buyer, how do you think the transaction went? Do you think that something was wrong? What do you think was fair?
To be honest, when I heard what the animal was, a southern white lip python, I was like, damn, high-ticket animal and a sensitive animal. Not an animal for beginners. It's an advanced animal.
Yeah.
Someone who needs to be knowing what they're doing for that thing. So I was already kind of like, okay, bad situation. I honestly think, and this is from personal experience, I don't know any of these people, I think that Armin got an animal, didn't know what to do, wasn't in his plans, so he's like, I'll just sell it. It's a high-ticket animal. I'll move it quickly.
Yeah.
It'll go to a good home. Tyler and Maddie are like, oh, we'll take it. Awesome. They bought it. Either Armin was not taking care of it properly. Tyler and Maddie were not taking properly. It was at the FedEx hub for too long without proper care for too long, whatever. The animal ends up with them, not well. And then, I think that even if Armin was in the wrong initially, he was like, yeah, I sent them a sick animal. Even if he was like, yeah, I sent them a sick animal and I knew it. Worst case scenario, he was bending over backwards for them to make up for it. Like, hey, you know what? I'll do a refund for the missed sex. I'll pay for the vet bills for the checkups and whatnot. And I think I honestly think that Tyler and Maddie just went too far. They're like, no, we want
Okay.
more.
Okay,
we want
so-
more. And I'm like, wow, geez, damn, he's giving you more than like any other reptile distributor will give you.
Yeah, I don't know Armin more than just literally one conversation recently that I had with him, right? And I don't think, especially him, that he has a reputation. He wouldn't. I don't think he would purposely send out a sick animal, but potentially the animal, because they are known to not, for the most part, not really thrive that much. Maybe it came in sick. He didn't know it's a sickness, so that's why he sold it. And then because of the stress from the delay, the extreme temperatures, the infection started showing. Showed in a lump. And then now it's like, okay, now this animal from stress is just like immune system down.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of how I see that happen. Mind you, I will say,
There was also talk of the animal being put on topsoil and play sand, which is not my personal recommendation.
yeah, especially if you're trying to quarantine the animal.
I've kept Northerns before. Not to say that they're the same as the Southerns, but they're the same species.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like,
Maybe not the way.
I would not have done
Yeah.
the topsoil and the play sand.
Yeah. And I don't know many pet tubers, and I hate to generalize. Most of the pet tubers that I've ever seen, it's like a lot of beginner animals, but in plethora because you're getting
Of course.
pet animals.
Of course.
I don't know any of their experience level.
Honestly, from watching a little bit of their channel, they are pretty
Yeah.
experienced. They have quite a variety.
Yeah.
I know Tyler specifically is working at the forefront with the Bronia.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn,
Yeah.
that is not an easy animal to take care of.
I don't even know how people get those things. But it's like
Not legally.
that. That is one of those. The white lips are one of those animals that's like, yo, like they get these kinds of infections. You got to be prepared for that kind of stuff. I mean, you got a white lip recently, a northern.
Yep.
How's it doing?
It's doing good. He's still in the quarantine period because I got him early December.
Yeah.
But he's in a quarantine tub right now. I
Yeah.
keep it humid in there. I have him on cocoa husk. I have him hooked up with heating. It's like it's not an animal you can just kind of put in the tub and kind of forget about it.
Yeah.
And I think also one of the drawbacks from a respiratory infection, you get a lot of hissing, open
Yeah.
mouth, and agitated.
Yeah.
White lip pythons regularly do that. They
Yeah.
regularly hiss with mouth open, strike, and not want to be touched. You
Yeah.
know? Plus, they're also really, really secluded animals. They spend almost no time out during the day.
Yeah.
They do spend a lot of time hiding, and most of their activity is nocturnal. So it's
Yeah.
like it's really hard to detect the respiratory infection
Yeah.
in them. And if you're not there quick enough, then the vet had said that they had like a collapsed lung.
Yeah,
So, like,
yeah.
yeah. If it's
Yeah.
too arid, they'll die. They'll die.
Yeah. And not to pick too much sides here, but I mean, I've worked with some big reptile companies before, and I will say that how much he offered is not common. How much
No,
he was
no,
like,
no,
I'll
no.
pay for the vet bills, whatever. I'll do this. At most, I would say most companies will be like, here's a refund, send the animal back.
Yeah.
You know, but he was willing to work with them. He 100% lost money on this
Yeah,
animal.
yeah.
You know, he could have been a dick.
No,
he
right.
wasn't.
The audacity to go
Yeah.
ahead and be like, oh, I want a blank check for the vet. I'm like, whoa,
Or
whoa,
an open tab
that's
or whatever. Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, yeah.
That's nuts. That I wouldn't even think of that as something that could be offered.
Yeah.
I would never ask that of even the biggest reptile distributors.
There's nothing better than the smell of coffee in the morning, okay? There's also nothing better than the smell of reptiles in the morning. Psych. Reptiles with coffee. That's the smell you want. The strongest coffee, all right? We have it for you. Head on over to the description or go to coldbloodedcaffeine.com and use the code REPTILESWITH to get your Reptiles with coffee today. Whole thing. In reality, what do you think was Armin's fault? Because I think, there's two sides to this. What do you think was Armin's fault?
The only thing I would say is his fault is if he knew. If he knew the animal
Yeah.
was sick and he sent it anyway, that's on him.
Yeah.
His bad.
Yeah.
But I think that even if that was the case, he more than made up for it.
Yeah,
You know, he took the L for a lot of things on that.
I would say that and also maybe a little bit of not being in a position to take in, or rather, putting yourself in a position to take in an animal that you're not prepared for.
Of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
I would say that those would be the problems. But I mean, in the reptile industry, in the reptile hobby, you do a lot of that. Do a lot of trading. Do a lot of I'm trading this because of the value. I know I'll be able to sell it for whatever.
Of
That is a reality.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think Tyler and Maddie are in the red for?
Or like wrong for this?
Yeah.
One, if they blackmail, that's bad. Don't
Gotcha.
blackmail people. Keep it between the two of you.
Yeah.
Anything can be resolved if you just talk it out.
Yeah.
Two, I think if they weren't taking care of the white-lipped python properly, then that's on them too, and it's not Armin's fault at all that the animal is declining in its condition. In their care, it's like that's on you. You need to be taking responsibility for the animal to an extent.
Yeah. It's like at what point does the buyer need to take responsibility for the animal?
That's always a point of conversation. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, how long can I guarantee a live animal for?"
Yeah.
I have personally seen someone buy a. This was not here. This was a while ago. Someone bought a carpet python, a nice, gorgeous, beautiful adult female.
Yeah.
They took it with them. They came back maybe 4 or 5 hours later, and they're like, "Hey, it died."
Yeah.
And we're like, "Huh? What happened? Walk us through it. Like, there's no way. It was just fine with us." And he's like, "Oh, I went. I took it. I went to the bank, and I went back, and I brought it back, and I went in the car, and it was dead." And I'm like, "You left it in the car while you were at the bank?"
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's like you cooked the animal.
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? It's like
fucking stupid.
And that animal was gorgeous, dude. It was so sad that happened. And so to that logic, as soon as you can be held responsible for that animal's death, that's when the seller's responsibility ends.
Yeah.
But you could do that immediately as you get it.
Yeah.
Now, so it's like
I've seen people offer anywhere between like a 3 to 7 health 3 to 7 day health guarantee. Everybody offers a live arrival guarantee, especially for captive bred animals, right?
And sometimes it stops there.
Yeah. And then some people offer 3 to 7. The fact that he kept going back and forth and taking the time with them is common for a good seller, but good sellers are not common.
Right.
So I would say that, especially because
what's your policy?
What's my policy?
Yeah.
Dude, as long as you're in contact with me, I'll work it out. In reality, I had people have a concern within the first 2 days, and then I stay with them, and once they see that the animal's eating, they're like, "Oh no, everything's fine." I'm like, "Yeah, call me whenever you need me." But I'm not selling a shit ton of animals.
Of course.
I can have that kind of flexibility.
Right.
I actually really, even though I breed and sell animals, I do care a lot about where the animals end up.
Yeah,
I do.
Of course. I think more people should.
Yeah.
I think if you're gonna sell let's say a monolith or an eggs and water monitor, that should not be an animal that you can allow anyone to go out with.
I still get messages about some of the blue tongues that I sold for my first litter. Here's an update on this.
40 years ago, right?
Something like that. But yeah, I do think that I understand. I mean, they spent upwards about $3,000 on this animal. That's a lot of money.
That is a lot of money.
Yeah,
cheap
I've been fucked for similar.
Yeah.
And what was I gonna do at that point when the animals were in my care for an extended period of time? But I think in this instance they should have taken the L. In the reptile community, they might be high profile people. I
was actually gonna say what makes this case interesting is that these are both people in the limelight, people that have
a following
out there.
And because of that, they should have led by example and not taken it publicly that. I think that now, I mean, us two assholes here get to talk about it, which is great. But wouldn't it be better if this wasn't a thing?
Of course.
Where if you're Tyler or Maddie watching this, you're like, wow, they're talking shit about me the first 10 minutes of their podcast, and it's, but hey, fucking, you wanted your cake. Here it is.
You posted, you put it out there.
Yeah.
You made it public. I was actually gonna ask, because of the publicity of both of them, do you think that that's Armin's? So I've never bought an animal from Herptime.
Okay.
Do you think that that's his standard, how he behaved in this situation, or do you think that he did the extra mile because of their reputation?
That's tough, man. I would honestly say, and
are you gonna do like a lifetime guarantee of animals for like Brian Barczyk?
No, for me to him, yeah. Well, that's the man, dude. That's the homie.
Jeez.
Okay, so if I'm not gonna say like if what I think Armin should do, I'm gonna say it like if it were me. Okay. Not so much because of the persona that they have, more than it is these are people that I am familiar with.
Okay.
So, Tino, if I sold you an animal, if you had an issue with the animal, I would help you out as much as I can because we are friends. Mind you, the person that is not your friend is a lot of people try to fuck you over. So sometimes the people that you don't know, you have to be a little more strict with. That's a fucking reality. Somebody doesn't like to hear it. Sorry, it's the fucking
course,
truth.
yeah.
You know, so if I sell you an animal, it ends up being sick. I work with you however we work.
Yeah.
You know about it. If I sell random person animal, it ends up sick. I have questions.
Yeah.
Hey, why? How did it get here? Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he took more care of them because of the profile, quote unquote, situation. I hate saying that word. Like if we're not a bunch of fucking assholes breeding animals.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. What do you think?
I think it. I don't know. It's so. It is. I haven't had much issues with animals I've bought. I don't think really ever I've really had an issue with the seller. So I wouldn't know if what Armin did is standard for a good distributor. You know, it's like. I don't know that is typical behavior.
Yeah.
You know, I genuinely don't think it is. So I'm kind of like, is Armin actually like this? Is he really this good a guy? Does he do this for all of his anoles and everything else he sells?
Yeah.
Or is it like, oh, it's Tyler and Maddie?
Yeah.
I get it.
You know what? Maybe it could also be just the price of the animal, bro. I mean,
Also that too.
Yeah.
You know, that factors in too. It is a high ticket animal.
Yeah.
You're working with an animal
yeah.
that's
I
not.
I would say that like at a certain price point, there should be an extended guarantee. You know, I
Okay.
mean, dude, if we've sold some of the ivory blue tongues for a pretty decent amount of money, upwards of $7,000. So if
Yeah.
somebody came back a month later and was like, "Yo, this animal I spent $7,000 on is having issues.
Yeah.
Hey, what can we do to help you
But
out? What kind of issues?"
Let's say it's an animal that is not that hardy. Like let's say it's a Europlatus fantasticus. You know, that's an animal
Yeah.
you can kill in an afternoon.
yeah,
You know, it's like that's something you
Yeah.
have to really be on it.
I
And
mean,
it's
dude,
like, what kind of guarantee can I give you on an
at
animal?
the end of the
that's
day,
delicate?
dude, it was a fucking white lip. What do white lips get? Respiratory infections.
They can, yeah.
They can, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
I would say it's as common as green tree pythons.
Okay.
If you sell a green tree python on Amazon
Yeah.
Creepoa, it's like, hey, you got to keep this thing human.
Yeah.
It's gonna die on you if you don't.
I have not seen many white lips in my history with reptiles, but the majority of them have had some kind of issue. That's
Yeah.
from my
I mean,
experience.
imports. Not a lot of people are breeding them, so there's not a lot
Yeah.
of captive born available. Of course, you're
Do you know
already
anybody
getting
that is
that
breeding them captive?
in the United States.
Yeah.
Southern white lip python. I think only like 4 people max have done it.
Damn,
I
that's
know
crazy.
Lisa Farina has done it. I think Dan Maleri has done it.
Okay.
Just a couple.
Yeah, but and then something else that I
The
noticed.
Northerns are a little bit more common.
Yeah.
I know I know Nerd produces like albinos too, so it's like more people are with that one.
They
but like the
produce
Southerns.
all kinds of shit.
You're right. They're all over.
And
it.
if Chuck was here, he wouldn't let us talk about it.
yeah.
Yeah. So something that was an issue with this, and I don't know if this is what caused friction, but from what I understand is Armin sold most of his animals before through King Snake, Fauna, other platforms that are pretty much not Morph Market, even like Facebook and shit. And when he was selling said animal through Morph Market, I think he did. Correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't update his terms through Morph Market, so Morph Market automatically gives you their terms
Okay,
for you to
interesting.
operate your business because you don't have terms. So they're
Right,
like,
right.
well, you're just gonna use this.
Okay.
So maybe that caused a little bit of friction.
Oh, he
but-
was still more than Morph Market standards. More
Yeah,
than their guidelines.
I mean, yeah, he did more than what I would say he should have. You know, in the end of the day, when it comes down to like, when do the buyers take responsibility for the animals? At the end of the day, the buyer takes responsibility when the animal is in their hands. And what's that responsibility? If they see the issue, if they experience an issue within a good given amount of time, they
Right.
speak to the breeder. And then from there, depending on their terms, they decide how they could maneuver this responsibility.
Of course, of
Okay,
course.
but the second the animal's in your hand, it is your responsibility.
Of course.
You know, the breeder at that point or seller, if it's not with their terms that they don't offer you shit, they don't fucking offer you shit. You should have gone with somebody else.
Yeah.
You know, and also if you're buying a very sensitive animal, know what you're expecting.
Yeah.
Get on top of your shit. I mean, there's animals that I would love to buy that I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with this shit. I'm not gonna get it.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and that's
of
a
course.
reality. And I'm really sorry it happened to them because fuck, man, $3,000.
Yeah, that's rough.
That hurts.
That is
but
rough. Especially
yet-
for an
yeah.
animal that was likely an import
Yeah.
that could have been used for captive breeding programs. You know,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah,
fuck.
listening. So if you want to support us, head on over to modernreptileshop.com or in the description where you can find our merch. And the best part is that a percent of the proceeds from the merch gets donated to conservation. One more time, that's modernreptileshop.com or head on over to the description.
I was actually going to ask Alex in the audience, as another seller who's also here, have you ever had a, I guess, high-profile sale, like someone who like you sold an animal to,
quote unquote,
like,
high profile,
yeah,
because we don't want to make people feel too special.
They're in the limelight, or they're in the spotlight.
And the answer is
no, not like social media, but like I guess in the hobby.
Okay,
Yeah,
big
they're
names in the
known.
hobby.
Yeah, yeah. they're
Gotcha.
known in
Have
the
you ever
hobby.
and you've
he
ever
sold an
like,
animal to me before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And have you ever like, I guess, gone up above and beyond what you typically do for people like that?
No, because they know what they're doing.
Oh,
I agree. I was actually also going to ask, because if you know his company, OTW Exotics, he does do a lot of imports and a lot of very delicate species.
Yeah.
Species that aren't readily
Rare,
available.
nice
yeah,
stuff.
Exactly. A lot more exotic stuff. So I'm kind of like, I wonder if he's like
how's
hey, I know
your-
you got this
yeah.
really, really rare gecko, but I'm going
Yeah.
to do this for you, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly, I've never really had people like come back to me and say like, oh, there's like this problem. I mean, yeah, some things happen like time to time, but for the most part, people know what they're doing.
Which is another little caveat there. You know, if you're getting a higher ticket animal, a more delicate animal, you better know what you're doing, especially if it comes with a higher price tag.
Yeah.
I don't know like how close it was to it, but it was mentioned that he made a video on the white lip.
Oh yeah.
Oh, Tyler, yeah.
He did
So if you just got the animal recently and you're holding it and it has this issue, that's
What?
also another factor
Ooh,
to
I didn't even
what's
think
going
about that.
on.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, it was an expensive animal, but Armin offered a full refund and more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
dude.
So, I mean, I think it was just a post made because they didn't get what they wanted. But at the end of
Understood.
the day, that it was what was offered was
yeah.
the best that
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
have been done.
I think it was
And
fair.
that nobody would have done. Nobody would have
done that.
Yeah.
And what's
No
even
one-
more like, I guess,
They could have. They
unsettling-
could have got a Northern off Joe if they wanted to.
yeah. You know what's even more unsettling though? Like, kind of like, ooh, I wonder what happened with any other animals they've fought before.
Well, I
So
mean,
like, have they also been like that with other sellers?
I'm
You know,
not-
and have sellers been like, all right, I'll do this, you know,
Yeah.
just like, kind of bitten the bullet and
Yeah.
just took it.
You're not muted, right?
I'm not muted, right? Okay.
No, you're on.
I'm not gonna like throw shade, but in Armin's video, he also said that they were asking him for questions on the Bronia. As you
Right.
stated
Like what
earlier,
care?
they do have them, but they're asking questions because maybe the Bronia aren't thriving. Maybe they don't know how
Gotcha.
to take care of the Bronia.
Maybe.
Yeah, they
I
have
don't know.
these experienced animals, but behind the scenes, are these animals actually thriving? And
Yeah.
Of course, we don't know.
We don't know. I mean, mind you, a Bronia is also fucking difficult, dude. I
You
don't know
can kill
many
that
people.
in an afternoon too.
Yeah, that's one of those animals that
can
most
die in the
people.
car.
Yeah, most people that have them, they don't do well.
I think it was
period.
just drama that should have been created, and that's it.
Yeah,
Armin
yeah.
offered whatever,
For sure.
Like maybe he did mess up in
Yeah.
some points, and they messed up in some
Yeah.
points. But at the end of the day, it should have just been all behind closed
Yeah,
doors.
and then at that point, like if you guys were really upset with it, just end the friendship, end the relationship. You know that you don't want to do business with that person, just don't do it. So, if you are quarantining an animal, why would you take that animal that you just got, put it in the video where you record videos with your other animals, because that literally destroys the point of the quarantine.
when you know from day one that you received it that it is sick, why would you make a video on it if it was so bad?
Yeah.
Oh, true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
There's a lot of playing parts in it that
Yeah.
honestly make no sense.
Yeah.
All I know is that they were offered a full refund and more, and
I
they
think-
should have just took it, and they should have still been friends. And when he gets another Southern, because it's gonna fucking happen, because he knows
Hey,
people.
can you help me out with this one? Or hey, fuck,
Yeah.
I'll send you another one. Whatever. So be it.
Yeah. Hey, in the future, if I get more, hey, I'm gonna refund you for this one.
Exactly.
But in the future,
And you know what ended up happening? They fucking took down Armin's fucking Instagram.
yeah.
Oh, why?
Yeah. Well, we're assuming that their fans
Yeah, it was suspended
reported,
accordingly.
Yeah, his
Yeah,
account is
accordingly.
suspended
Holy
right now.
crap, what?
I literally had messaged him that the night before. We had a little conversation. The next day I come to work and he's like, "Yo, did you
I'm
see
not
that they
gonna lie.
suspended Armin's
Okay.
account?"
I know your feelings about cancel culture.
Yeah.
But and it's horrible that this has happened to Herptime.
Yeah.
Because he has some awesome content. He does some great stuff. Can you imagine if that happened to actually fucked up people?
Fuck.
If people actually just took down their websites, their Facebook,
But then you
their
also
Instagram, I'd
give
be
them.
like,
You also give
Yes!
them. You also take away the opportunity for them to do something right.
Get
To
another
fix-
platform.
To fix. Oh my god.
But no, I agree. I agree.
They shouldn't have fucking.
But the power is so dangerous.
Yeah.
The power is so great. It's like, oh, I had a beef. All my fans, go ahead and report this guy's Instagram. It's like,
Mind you, this is alleged. I don't know if this
That's
happened,
nuts.
but it's also very suspicious timing. So, did Armin sell sick animal? Yes. Did he know the animal was sick? We do not know the truth.
that we don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did he do everything that he could to help them?
Absolutely.
Did he also work with them on the price? Did he offer an extended payment plan because
Above
they're
and beyond,
friends?
yeah.
Yes. Did he pay for the vet every time that they requested something? How was the transaction?
$700 in vet bills.
Yeah.
I mean,
When there was a mistake on the identity of the animal was a male, money was returned. And
Crazy.
still,
no, I don't know if it was refunded.
I thought it was refunded.
I think an
no,
offer.
it was
I'm talking
offered.
shit this whole time.
I think
No,
a
no,
refund
no,
was
no.
offered.
It was offered
Oh.
A refund was
But
offered,
I don't
and
think
it
they
wasn't
take it. I think they waited,
until it died.
and then it died, and then they're like, all right, now we want a refund. And he's like, dude,
Understood.
it's dead, and you can't send me the snake back. So how are we supposed to do this?
Yeah.
So
And
you're
they're
telling
saying,
me-
you know what? Fuck you. All right, we're going to make this post, and hopefully we get a refund off the post.
So you're telling
Maybe,
me,
yeah.
you're telling me that he was like, "Yo, it's an incorrect sex. I'll give you the whole money back if you send me the animal back." They didn't say anything. Animal ends up dying, and then they're like, "I want my fucking money." And he's like,
And
"I
then
don't have
he's
an animal."
like-
What if they took each other down?
What do you mean?
What if Herptime's fans started reporting Tyler and Rugge's channels?
Let's do it right now. No, I'm kidding. I hardly know the dude.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's okay. I understand even better now. The plot thickens.
The plot thickens. It's just the impact.
Yeah.
The impact that this
Yeah.
has.
So,
That's-
if Armin knew that he sold a sick animal, if he knew,
Mm-hmm.
and if his retribution I think is the word, was, oh, I'm gonna pay all these vet bills because fuck,
Mm-hmm.
then yeah, he's in the wrong. But we also don't know that that's a reality.
All right.
But play devil's advocate, that's also a thing.
I
But
don't-
I don't know, dude. Like
I don't
he
think
doesn't
so,
seem like that
man.
dude,
I
man.
think if you
I don't think so.
intentionally saw a sick animal,
Yeah.
and the thing is that maybe if he did, like maybe he thought it was like nothing terrible, you know, like
Yeah,
the
yeah.
animal's still
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
do okay. It was eating.
Okay.
He said it was eating, so it's like, all right, this animal's eating. It doesn't look bad, you know.
Right.
Maybe it has a little bit of wheezing, and he's like, oh, okay. I don't know his experience with snakes. Obviously, we know his experience with the nose. But then it popped up, and
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he offered a full refund plus.
He did so much, bro.
He
Fuck.
he did too much. That's more than I would have done.
You know what I
Yeah.
noticed?
Don't
It's
shop at OTW Exotics.
it's pet people stuff. It's pet people that are bothered, and the like reptile industry people that are like, no, like he did his thing.
Yeah.
You know,
The
this
reptile
is-
industry people are like, damn, he did a lot.
Yeah, I know.
I
like,
wouldn't have done that.
You know, so hey, man, this divided the industry in this instance.
Yeah.
Yeah, from within.
Crazy.
No,
Yeah, from within.
I don't think it divided the industry.
No, you don't think so?
I think the real true keepers stick with the true
No,
real
but
keepers.
there's the two. There's
Oh,
the
yeah,
two.
you're right,
There's
you're
the
right. My
people
bad,
in
my
the
bad.
in the
Yeah,
industry
yeah,
that are
yeah,
the sellers,
yeah.
and then there's the buyers, the keepers, the pet
Like
keepers.
the pet people.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're
so
right.
it separated
Yeah.
those two things because now all these pet people are like, "Yo, fuck this dude! Like, I can't believe he did that. It's a pet.
Yeah.
It's whatever,
And
whatever."
It's funny because it happens all the time.
Sitting
Yeah.
with their
Like
leopard gecko at
Ugg's
home.
list of complaints has to be a mile long.
Tino's favorite thing to do is to call out Ugg.
Yeah, it
You're
is.
gonna get murdered one day.
I will. I'm okay with that. I will speak my piece. But yeah, Ugg's complaint list has to be a mile long. You know, so
Yeah.
it's like, but none of those people have platforms,
Yeah.
and nobody likes Ugg anyway. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, we don't care about these people. But
You also have
Herptime
to think
and
about their volume
Tyler
though,
Rugge.
too.
Their volume.
Yeah,
The volume.
Oh
of what they
yeah.
sell.
The more animals they sell, the more likely you are to.
exactly. 'cause
Of
they
course,
probably
of course.
send everything they get.
yeah.
You know, like
Allegedly.
people who bring in large amounts, they keep the stuff that's not doing so
Yeah.
well. And then,
Oops, I sent a list with no legs. Oh, my bad.
What the fuck?
I'm sure there are worse
probably
stories.
happened.
I'm sure there are worse stories. You know what? I wouldn't even be surprised if someone out there has sent a dead reptile before.
Oh, I know.
Like an animal that was
I know it
bred.
I'm
has.
not even gonna
I
say
know
it.
it
but
has.
I
Damn,
know
goodbye.
people that have done this.
Yeah,
and
same.
We'll talk about this after the
Jeez.
podcast.
Yeah,
That's
that's
so
not a conversation
bad.
for the podcast. Do better. Do
That's
better,
so
people. Do
bad.
fucking better. His video was fire.
Fire.
Yo, he dropped the hardest mixtape
Screenshot
in 2023,
timestamps.
dude.
I was like, damn. It was like it was more than Donnie level. It was more than nerd level.
It
I was
stopped.
Like, damn.
That video stopped the day. The three of us were in the office with the volume up, quiet, like, damn, damn, damn.
It
like
got
that.
to a point where I was like, is someone in the office? Is someone in there?
Dude, it
We're
was
Team
great.
Herptime.
What?
We're Team Herptime.
Team Herptime.
We got to make shirts so we can make
Oh
profit.
my god.
Proceeds donated to conservation. Anywho.
Yeah, the back will be like R.I.P. White Lip Python.
Oh.
In remembrance of Southern White Lip Python.
And all the proceeds go to, where are they from?
Papua New Guinea.
They go to Papua New Guinea. There we go.
There we go.
Conservation.
Conservation.
Through
Gosh.
commercialization, like Tom Crutchfield says.
The shirts will be on the website.
Jeez. If you're listening to this, you're a reptile lover. All right. And what do we all need? We need supplies. So we got you covered. Head on over to imperialreptiles.com and use the code REPTILESWITH to get a specific discount special to us and our listeners for your reptile supplies today. One more time, that's imperialreptiles.com. Use the code REPTILESWITH. Yeah, talking about conservation. So apparently they're trying to bring back these fucking mammoths.
That's correct.
My guy. I was listening to
They're trying to
the
do that.
Joe Rogan podcast where
Forrest Gallant.
Is it Gallant or Galante? Galante.
Galante.
Galante. That's a fancy.
Where's he from?
Well, he's American, but he was raised
So it's
in
Gallant.
Zimbabwe.
But
He was raised in Zimbabwe?
Oh, then it is Galante. I was gonna say if he's American, it's Gallant. Okay.
I thought you were American.
American.
So yeah, he was talking to Joe about. I talked first name basis because I know them apparently. Forrest
Yeah.
and Joe, the homies, right? That apparently Jurassic Park situation. They are working on inseminating the Indian elephant because it's the closest related to the mammoth,
Yeah,
the
extant
woolly
species.
mammoth. Yeah. They are working on inseminating one with the DNA of a mammoth to recreate the mammoth, and then they will be putting that baby and the babies that they make into a park in Siberia.
So actually, I'm
To
going to correct you a
repopulate.
little bit.
Okay,
They're
okay,
actually
okay.
not going to inseminate an Asian elephant. What
I thought they were.
They're not. What
Oh,
they're
okay,
going
okay.
to do is they're going to fill in the gaps of the
Sorry,
DNA
yeah.
with an Asian elephant.
You can't
and then
inseminate
put
it
in
because-
an artificial
yeah,
womb.
you
Because again, an Asian elephant,
Yeah.
an Indian elephant cannot produce a mammoth inside
And
of it.
you also cannot inseminate anything from a mammoth because you can't jerk off a mammoth because they're dead. You can't jerk off a mammoth, that's a fact.
That's correct. You cannot.
But you know what you can jerk off.
But this company, yeah, like you said, they're doing the thing. One of the reasons that they're doing it is, one, because they can. Why not? We have so much money. I don't know what we're gonna do with it. Not fix poverty.
You know what
that's
they
for
should have
sure.
done instead? Made a robot mammoths.
Why weren't they like, you know what? We could use this money and actually like help conserve Indian elephants. They're like, you know
Wow,
what?
bro.
They're like, you know what? Let's make a new elephant. The logic was not there. But one of the reasons they want to do it is because of climate change.
Yeah.
The way that the permafrost used to work is that because of, I guess, the stamping of large herbivores during the Ice Age, it would keep the snow compacted, and so it would create that permafrost underneath.
Yeah.
But when you have like trees and other kinds of grasses and roots, they break it up, and with melting temperatures, that stuff, the permafrost starts to melt.
Okay.
Temperatures start to rise because now it's no longer as cold, and boom, we have climate change. We have hot air. And that's what's interesting. They're like, oh, if we bring back the mammoth and we bring back other kind of like megafauna from the Ice Age,
Yeah.
then we can keep
Counteract,
the permafrost there.
yeah.
And I'm like, you know
Science.
what? Interesting. But I also think, and again, it's hard not to go back to literally Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
When you have, so Michael Crichton, when he wrote Jurassic Park, it was because that science was actually being done. If you didn't know, the book was written because they were like, what if we did this, you know?
Yeah.
And the way they're doing it is exactly the way that it was described. They're like, what we were trying to do back then, we're like, what if we did it with something that's close, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, that's, and I'm watching videos about them, like, this is so crazy, it could work.
Yeah.
It could work. But I'm also very, very hesitant because, granted, we're like, oh, we want this to be the goal. It could very well not be like the outcome. It could very well be like, wow, now we have mammoths and they're doing a lot of damage. They're like destroying a bunch of stuff and it's making it worse.
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Who freaking knows?
Do
It's
you
a really
think-
large can of worms.
It
Yeah.
is a really large can of worms. I'm
Because-
kind of like, damn, people with money should not be just bulling into
In
this.
Jurassic Park, I mean, this was movie logic. They said that all the dinosaurs they produced were females, so that way because they couldn't reproduce or they didn't want them to reproduce.
Right.
Do you think that these mammoths that are born would be able to reproduce?
Here's another aspect with this.
Okay.
Is and it's essential is DNA sequencing.
Okay.
When we have connecting it back to reptiles, when you have flightless fruit flies, it's because we've mapped out fruit fly DNA. We know exactly what every gene in the fruit fly does, and we can make it so that, or at least scientists can make it so that fruit flies can grow legs out of their eyeballs, can grow up with no eyeballs, can grow up without any legs.
You know,
and with the ones we feed in captivity, we make them flightless or we make them wingless.
I was wondering how that happened.
But here's
Straight the fuck up. I was thinking about it the other day. I was like, how'd they do this? Why they don't fly? They
Yep.
took out the wings one by one. How the fuck?
Yep. But here's a couple caveats. People who breed fruit flies probably know that if a wild fruit fly comes in and breeds with it, they will produce winged fruit flies.
Yeah.
And now you have fruit flies in your place. So that's an interesting element. It's like,
How do they-
oh, what if a mammoth somehow gets loose and starts to hybridize with Indian elephants? I don't know how this would fucking happen, but life finds a way, right?
Yeah.
So, and then boom, now you have hybrids of an endangered animal. Great.
Fire.
So that's one. Two, with fruit flies, I think they only have 4 chromosomes.
Okay.
So it's a lot shorter to go ahead and map out that entire genome. I think right now, I think one of the guys actually, one of the founders of the organization for the mammoths,
Yeah.
he's actually one of the founders for the Human Genome Project to go ahead and map out the human genome.
That's crazy.
And so with humans, that's a lot more chromosomes. You've got
Yeah.
26 chromosomes. I don't know how many chromosomes mammoths and Indian elephants have, but it's probably going to be more.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, if you don't know what all of those genes do, you have no idea what you're putting into that animal.
That's fucking crazy.
And they think they want to go ahead and be like, okay, we want the smaller ears, we want the fur, we want
Yeah.
the giant tusks, we want the stuffs, you know? But you might be putting in crazy ass shit in there, and now you've got a freaking, you know, Indominus Rex. As unscientific as this conversation
Yeah.
sounds, because I'm using a movie reference,
literally.
it's like literally like, you'd be surprised at how scientific Jurassic, or at least how it's rooted in actual science.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's freaking nuts.
Yeah,
That's freaking nuts.
Eric, what was the other animal that they were talking about?
Thylacine.
The thylacine. So,
Tasmanian
the-
tiger.
yeah. So no, it wasn't with the Tasmanian.
That is the
That's
thylacine.
the other name of it.
Oh, okay,
That's
okay.
the common name.
So, and what? Okay, so they said that they were trying to do the same thing with the thylacine, but it was with the closest relative, which was too small. So they were trying to take the DNA out, put it in an artificial womb.
Essentially, what they're trying to do with the elephant and,
Yeah.
the mammoth.
What was it with?
You know what? The name of that animal literally escaped my brain right before we started. It's,
Yeah, something with a K or some shit.
That ironic. The extinct animal gets all the attention,
I
but
know.
the extant
Yeah.
animal, I have no idea.
I know.
Who the fuck is that
I know
guy?
for sure they've tried to play around with it with how they tried with Tasmanian devils.
Mm-hmm.
They played around with that idea, and then it went to the quoll, and then we're going to this one.
I actually
Can't
have
believe I forgot the name of it.
I have a specific question. A Tasmanian tiger, is that a cat?
No,
Is it a mustelid?
no. The Tasmanian tiger is a marsupial.
Okay.
It
A
essentially-
marsupial.
it
That's
is
disgusting.
not, no.
I hate that.
It is not disgusting. It's
Yes,
great.
because that means it's closer to koalas and
beautiful.
kangaroos than an actual tiger.
Damn.
It's the greatest thing in the
That's
world,
in this.
man.
They should have been like the Tasmanian koala.
Oh
It's
my
because it has
God.
stripes.
No,
Amazing.
So pretty much what the thylacine
Science.
is since Australia is excommunicated from the rest of the world, everything there evolved to fulfill niches.
Right.
So the thylacine essentially fulfilled the canine niche. It didn't
Understood.
develop any type of like pack mentality. They're still solitary, but it looks to the untrained eye,
Yeah,
if you
yeah, yeah.
look at it from far away, it looks like a dog.
Interesting.
It's got the long snout, it's got
Yeah,
a
yeah,
tail,
yeah.
it's got the straight back. Not pointy ears, but ears.
Yeah, I hate that.
What?
I don't
Have you
know.
never seen-
It's like
have
a
you ever seen
carnivorous koala.
Didn't at one point they say that shit didn't exist?
At all?
Yeah, wasn't that like a cryptid?
Well, it's a cryptid now because it's supposed to be extinct, and they're seeing this little wolf-looking thing that's
I
not a
thought
dingo.
cryptids were things that didn't exist.
Cryptids,
That's kind of a requirement.
cryptids. It's a pseudoscience.
But that's the
name.
point. That's the point. It's like,
Uh.
oh, we don't know if it exists. Let's see if it does.
It's a pseudoscience. It's like astrology.
Okay.
Cryptozoology kind of it's like the study of.
Cryptozoology.
Yes, yes. It's
I know that's the term, but it's like we're sciencey. I promise.
Crypto
Oh my
or
God.
cryptozoology?
Cryptozoology.
Crypto. I thought crypto was like a fucking disease.
No, cryptos.
Oh,
everything,
Cryptosporidium
dude.
is the disease.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay,
It's
And
a
it's also
virus.
a currency, too.
Parasite.
I got you.
But
That's funny.
cryptozoology, it pretty much entails pretty much all of the local legends, Mothman, Bigfoot, all that fun stuff. It is the study of animals not known to science.
Yeah.
Are there?
So on paper, pandas,
Yeah.
gorillas, many different types of like reptiles and stuff like that. You could even put like elephants and stuff in there. Before like the Western science world got to those places, all they had was word of the local people. They're just like, oh yeah, there's this weird giant black and white mammal out there in the bamboo forest.
Yeah.
It's not known as science, so it's this local legend. And then once the scientists actually get there,
Exactly.
oh, this is actually real.
Yeah.
So you get the panda. Same thing happened with the gorilla.
Really?
Yeah, the same exact story. The gorilla used to be this. Essentially, it was most like kind of like Africa's Bigfoot. Essentially,
Yeah. The rhinoceros used to be a unicorn.
yes,
That's crazy.
that's how the-
Manatees used to be mermaids.
yes, that is also correct.
What? What do you say?
That's because Columbus had horrible eyesight.
No.
Yes.
No. If you see a manatee and you think it's a fish woman, you're on drugs.
Hey man, he's on the sea for how long?
You're on what?
He's on the sea for how
Crack.
long? He's like, I'd smash.
Honestly.
That's what he did. Yeah, he's been with around men too long. He's like, I'd smash.
But essentially, it makes sense how a lot of these animals come to be because actually, perfect example, elephant skulls and the cyclops.
And the
Yes,
cyclops.
because
And
they
the
have that
cyclops.
large.
So elephants have that big ass trunk.
Uh-huh.
It's a giant hole in the middle of their skull where that trunk goes.
There's no bones there.
There's no. It's just a hole.
It's
So
your
when-
nose.
Yeah.
When you know ancient Greece, they're looking at these skulls and stuff. They're seeing the tusks. They're seeing the giant hole. That's a big ass cyclops skull right there, and that's how
Yeah.
you start this entire thing, and that's,
That's
where the legends
crazy.
start.
I
the
didn't know
same
that.
thing with unicorns. Elasmotherium was a extinct species of rhinoceros that had one giant horn. Same exact story there.
Yeah.
You know what cryptids people still believe in?
What?
Dinosaurs.
You fucking idiot. Are there any reptile cryptids?
Yes.
There are, but those guys, it's a lot harder to justify their existence because of how outlandish the stories are.
I
Tell-
actually
tell-
have
yeah.
so and actually speaking of like a thing that like oh it might be a real animal of what you were just saying like with the pandas and the fucking rhinos or whatnot.
The fucking.
So in Japan they have a cryptid known as the Tsukinoko, right? And what it basically looks like is a very thick bodied snake. So it's got like no neck, it's just the head, a thick body, and a tiny little tail. It's venomous. It lives up in the mountains in Japan, deep forest.
The chode.
Essentially, yes. Actually, that's exactly what it is.
Blood python.
A blood python. Yeah. And so there's speculation. The last sighting was like over 100 years ago or centuries ago. And one of the interesting things, though, is that the oldest preserved book in Japan references Tsukinoko.
Really?
Yeah. So I'm like, what if, like the Thylacine, it was a species of snake that no longer exists anymore? Because either overhunting, the environment can no longer suit it, the introduction of humans, who knows, whatever. But some of the stories, when you think about it, it's like, okay, a snake with a big, heavy body and venomous. Could be a viper that maybe ate something. You know, it maybe ate something big, and people are like, "Whoa, it's a Tsukinoko," you know, but it's like it's like just a native snake.
Yeah.
You know, one of the interesting tales about it is that it likes alcohol, and I'm like, I wonder if someone was in the forests of Japan drinking some sake, losing it, sees a giant snake with like a huge meal in its
Yeah, I think they were
in its
talking
gullet,
about my dad,
and was like,
dude.
"Whoa, pour one out for the Tsukinoko."
Fat likes alcohol. That's my dad, dude.
So yeah,
know if
I was
he's
like,
venomous,
huh,
but-
that's cool. Not that I necessarily believe in Tsukinoko or cryptozoology, but I was
Yeah.
like, that is an interesting little
Yeah.
tidbit of information.
Do we have another one? Another reptile cryptid?
There's another one in Japan.
There's a lot of Japanese ones.
There's one that's like, he's a turtle
Same.
and has like a beak, but I don't know. I think he just washes clothes in the
It's
rivers
like
or something.
kappa. It has something
A
to do with
kappa.
kappa.
Yeah.
I think it's just kappa.
I think
it's
it's
a
just
turtle
kappa.
with a beak that washes clothes in the river.
Yep, that's
He's
exactly.
got a weird
what it is.
haircut too.
He's got a
I
weird
thought these
haircut,
things
yeah.
were
A
supposed
bowl
to make
cut.
sense.
He's got a bowl cut.
In like nature.
Nope.
But the
That's the
Japanese
ones
ones
that
are
I-
anime characters.
Well, because there's also
These Japanese ones are anime characters.
Tino.
Straight
there's
the
also
fuck
thoughts
up,
that
dude.
they're like there's like a set cryptids and then like Japanese spirits.
Oh,
like
well,
cultural spirits.
Okay. You said your favorite cryptid or potential cryptid was a thylacine.
Favorite animal, bro.
Favorite
Animal? Okay.
period.
What's your favorite cryptid?
Unrealistic cryptid.
Yeah.
That's probably the owl man. That one's cool.
Why?
I like owls.
He likes owls.
I like mugs. If anybody knows where that's from, that's great.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. What's your least favorite cryptid?
My least favorite cryptid.
Yeah. The one that you were like, come on, bro.
Actually, my least favorite cryptid is the American chupacabra. That shit pisses
What?
me off. You know why?
Sounds pretty great.
But
But I
isn't
think
that
it's
some
only
shit
because
with mange?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The American chupacabra, not the
Yeah.
Puerto Rican chupacabra.
You're right.
The ones that started showing up in Mexico and the Southwest.
Yeah.
Because that's just straight bullshit.
They're just ugly dogs.
seeing
What's the
mangy
difference
coyotes.
between that and the Puerto Rican chupacabra?
It's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
The Puerto Rican chupacabra is like, that one's kind of fantastical in my opinion. It's
Like a demon type
It's like a
thing.
demon alien thing that flies and everything.
Yeah.
Like a traditional monster.
Right.
The Southwest chupacabra is legit a
An
coyote
ugly
with
dog.
mange.
Yeah, an ugly dog.
Yeah.
It
That's
is
like.
a- Not even just coyotes. People are shooting their little raccoons with mange. It's just animals with
Yeah.
mange. Essentially, that's what it
Gotcha.
is.
They
Yeah.
used to call me that in Miami, but
Mange?
they used to call me chupapinga. Anyways,
Jeez.
another cryptid that you like?
Another cryptid I like. You're just naming cryptids.
Yeah, give me one more cryptid and we'll do our thing.
Okay.
My favorite.
Yeah.
I like the Tsukinoko a lot because it'd be cool. It's like a little coat of a snake.
Nice.
I really like the Loch Ness monster.
Okay.
If Nessie were real, and you know what? Not even gonna lie. Okay, the deep sea. We know more about our moon than we know about the deep sea.
It's really sad.
You know, which is crazy. Now, is there a potential? Like, not necessarily the Loch Ness monster, because obviously people have looked in Loch Ness.
Yeah.
Lake Ness. But like the potential that there is something that lives in the water that's like massive or potentially deadly or just and it's just has
Yeah.
escaped.
I don't doubt it.
That'd be
We're-
insane. That'd be crazy. You know, giant squids. I don't think any picture has ever been recorded of one alive.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. They've never found one alive.
For real?
Yep. The only evidence we have
die
is that
from the
they're dead
pressure.
and inside of sperm whales.
You know why? Because every time they catch them, it's because as they rise up in the pressure of the water, it kills them.
Oh,
That's what happens with a
wow.
lot of deep sea wildlife. That's why
They always
see
end
them,
up dead,
Like
yeah.
the blobfish, it looks like a blob, but underwater it looks
Yeah,
nothing like
you
that.
would think that we were able to deal with literally outer space, like pressure, temperatures, through a fucking machine, that we wouldn't be able to do something similar deep
Yeah, but you
deep
gotta
in
remember
space
who's
to
catching this
explore.
stuff.
The what?
Who's catching these animals?
I don't know.
Fishermen, crab fishermen. They're
Oh.
hauling their stuff. They're not
Uneducated
expecting to
people
see
that make
stuff.
tales and stories.
Wow, that's so fucked. You
Exactly.
heard that?
No, but
shit?
I mean that's true.
Pirates.
Yeah.
All
of the
right, I didn't say
Caribbean.
pirates.
What did I say?
But actually, not to I guess divert it back to reptiles, but crypto, the root means like hidden or unknown, I guess.
So that disease is like a hidden disease.
Cryptosporidium has a latent form and an active form. There's a form where it's in the animal. You can tell it's in the animal. The animal's impacted. The animal is doing poorly. And there's a hidden form, which is just dormant. It's dormant inside the body, and
Until
you
the
can't
animal wants
detect
to-
it. Until the immune system and the virus or the parasite is like, yeah, I'm going to kill my host. And then they do.
That's crazy. And that was the Reptiles With podcast.